Dear brothers and sisters in faith, today I reach out to you with a story that surpasses imagination, a tale that touches the depths of our being and renews our faith in the Lord. Sometimes, what seems impossible occurs. Our faith shifts reality in surprising and unique ways. And that is precisely what we will discuss today. An extraordinary miracle through the intercession of Pope Francis. When such an event occurs, disbelief is often the most common reaction, as we live in a world dominated by rationality, where God seems to have been relegated to legend and superstition. But we know this is not the case, so it's not surprising that this extraordinary story went unnoticed by much of the international media. Today, we will revisit these extraordinary events that baffled doctors, who were unable to find a scientific explanation for what happened. The miracle I want to talk about involves a very special man, our beloved Pope Francis, and the way the Lord worked through him to perform an act of mercy so extraordinary that it will remain in our hearts as a testament to his loving presence among us. Miracles, dear brothers and sisters, are signs of God's power and mercy, tangible manifestations of his will to intervene in our earthly lives to bring healing, comfort, and hope. Throughout the centuries, countless miracles have healed men and women from diseases deemed incurable, saving them from desperate situations. The Church's tradition and scriptures are filled with these divine interventions, which span centuries and millennia, attesting to God's constant presence with us all. Clearly, believing in miracles is not a prerequisite for Christian faith, as our faith does not depend on the need for evidence. The coming of Christ, his death, and resurrection are the pillars of our faith. However, as mentioned, throughout the centuries, many revelations and miracles have occurred, and it's challenging to remain indifferent in the face of events that defy every human explanation. Events that speak directly of the love and power of our God. And now, let me tell you about the extraordinary miracle through the intercession of Pope Francis. This wonderful event took place on October 20th, 2021, in Rome, during Pope Francis's general audience, a time when the Pope meets men and women from all over the world. On that day, as with every general audience of the Pope, the crowd fills the Paul VI audience hall in the Vatican, gathered to listen to his words. But now, imagine the scene. Something unexpected breaks the traditional rhythm of the audience. A child, suffering from epilepsy and a form of autism, manages to bypass security checks, climbs onto the stage, and sits next to the Holy Father, receiving from his hands the zucchetto. This child was in Rome with his family for a series of medical examinations, including the verification of the presence of a brain tumor that seriously threatened his life. In a moving interview with American TV CBS, the child's mother recounted how she was struck during the audience by seeing her son climb the stairs and approach the Pope, an action that had become impossible for the little one without help. Pope Francis interacted with brotherly affection and love with the child, and continued to conduct the audience as he does every week. At the end of the audience, Pope Francis had a brief exchange with the woman, promising to pray for her son and assuring her that the impossible does not exist. The Pope's words were simple. They could be interpreted as words of closeness and comfort. But what would happen next would be incredible. Brothers and sisters, the continuation of this story is a clear sign of divine intervention. After the encounter with Pope Francis, during the clinical examinations, doctors no longer found traces of the cancer, and the child began to show rapid and unexpected improvements. This story, still awaiting thorough verification by the Church, testifies to how the meeting with the Holy Father radically changed the life of little Paolo and his family. And it's not the first time Pope Francis has witnessed a miracle. During an audience, he recalled that when he was the Archbishop of Buenos Aires, he personally witnessed and experienced an extraordinary sign from God. A little girl had been admitted to the hospital in serious condition. The doctors told her father that his daughter had contracted a severe infection and was in such a critical condition that she would not survive the night. That man, the Pope recounts, may not have gone to Mass every Sunday, but he had great faith. He left the hospital in tears, leaving his wife there with their daughter, took the train, and traveled the 70 kilometers to the Basilica of Our Lady of Luján, the patron saint of Argentina. However, upon arrival, the basilica was closed. It was almost 10 p.m. The man clung to the basilica's gates and spent the entire night praying to the Madonna, fighting for his daughter's health. "This is not a made-up story," says Pope Francis. "I saw it with my own eyes." In the end, at 6 in the morning, the church opened. The man went in to greet the Madonna and then returned home. When he arrived at the hospital, he looked for his wife and, not finding her, thought the worst. "No, the Madonna cannot do this to me." But then, walking through the hospital corridors, he found his daughter in another room, awake and smiling. His wife told him that she did not know what had happened. The doctors told her that suddenly, their little girl's condition had improved and she was inexplicably healed. Pope Francis tells us that that man, praying with deep faith, received grace from the Madonna. The Virgin Mary heard him. And this, emphasizes Pope Francis, he saw it personally. Prayer works miracles. Dear brothers and sisters, let us never forget, prayer works miracles, and the Lord is with us in every moment of our lives. Let us know in the comments what you think. Share your stories and thoughts. And I invite you again to subscribe to our channel and join our community of faith and prayer. Together, we can share and celebrate the wonders of our Lord, supporting each other on the journey. May the Lord bless us all.